Imagine Hollywood as an empire of dreams, where the spotlight's glow never fades and the brilliance of stars never loses its shine. At the heart of this empire, nestled between curtains of glamour and glitter, lies the Golden Age, an era that wove magic into the fabric of everyday life, transforming movie theaters into portals to other worlds. On the threshold of a starry evening in the late 1920s, the world witnessed a miracle that would forever change the face of entertainment. Just imagine a dark cinema hall, the rustling of silk dresses, and the discreet whisper of anticipation. The jazz singer appears on the screen, and suddenly a voice emanates from the canvas. Not just any voice, a song, laughter, tears, the whole spectrum of human emotions. It was as if film, that mysterious silver dream, had finally spoken, and it was a voice that would echo through the centuries. In this magical moment, Hollywood stepped into a new era, an era where movies would not only speak but also sing and dance, capturing the hearts and souls of millions. Imagine magnificent studios like MGM with their glittering slogans, "More stars than there are in the heavens," transforming into true dream factories. Here, in these temples of imagination, talents were not just discovered, they were created, forged into something more than mortal, into legends. In this world, where every scene was larger than life and every song a melody that touched the soul, stars were born one after another. From the first flickers of sound film, Hollywood was not just a place where dreams come true, it became the dream maker. The studio system, with MGM at its helm, was like Olympus, a home for the gods and goddesses of the silver screen, where Clark Gable, Greta Garbo, and Judy Garland became synonyms for immortality. In this new era, where film spoke, then sang and danced, Hollywood conquered the world. It was no longer just a place on the map. It was an empire of dreams, a kingdom of imagination, and a home for those who believed that even in the darkness of the cinema, among the brilliance of the stars, everyone could find light. In the Golden Hall of Hollywood, where the lights never dim and the applause echoes into infinity, thrones have been set for the kings and queens of the silver screen. This was no ordinary temple of fame, it was Olympus, where the gods and goddesses of cinema walked among mortals, leaving a trail of light to be admired by generations to come. Clark Gable, with a charisma that could ignite the screen with just one look, was the true king of Hollywood. His appearance in Gone with the Wind was more than acting. It was a manifestation of masculinity and charm that remained unparalleled. Opposite him stood Audrey Hepburn, the embodiment of elegance and sophistication. Her character in Breakfast at Tiffany's became more than a role. It was an eternal symbol of style and grace, an inspiration for every girl who dreamed of a life greater than her own. Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman in Casablanca were not just acting. They were creating magic. Their chemistry transcended the confines of the screen, setting the standard for all romantic dramas that followed. But the story of the giants does not end here. Cary Grant, with his impeccable sense of humor and elegance, was synonymous with the charming leading man, while Fred Astaire danced his way through the hearts of the audience, proving that rhythm and the beauty of movement can tell a story just as well as words. Richard Burton, with his deep, resonant voice and intense emotional depth, became an icon of tragic romance. In The Wild West, John Wayne walked like a giant, proving that true heroes wear not just a cape, but a cowboy hat. Gary Cooper was the embodiment of American individualism, a man whose presence on the screen always meant an adventure of the heart and spirit. Frank Sinatra, with his smooth voice that transitioned from the recording booth to the movie screen, showed that talents are unlimited and that a true star shines in every medium. Among the divas, Elizabeth Taylor shone with beauty that transcended eras, while Marilyn Monroe, with her iconic platinum blonde hair and seductive smile, became an eternal symbol of sensuality and charm. Grace Kelly, with an appearance that was a synergy of royal elegance and Hollywood glamour, and Ava Gardner, whose beauty was so captivating it took one's breath away, embodied every woman's dreams of love and luxury. We must not forget Sophia Loren, the Italian goddess whose passion and fieriness on screen inspired millions, proving that true beauty comes from the strength and pride with which one lives their life. In this Hall of Fame, every altar, every story was a tribute to those who, with their talent, their passion, and their unforgettable presence on the screen, shaped not just cinematography, but also the dreams of those who watched them. They were more than actors. They were symbols of an era, eternal kings and queens of the silver screen whose legacy will live forever. In the heart of cinematography, among the glittering stars and endless red carpets, lie cinematic works that have transcended time and space, becoming not just classics, but also the foundations upon which the entire film industry rests. These films have not only shaped generations, they have shaped culture itself. The aforementioned movie, Gone with the Wind, is not just a film. It is a saga of passion, pride, and unwavering spirit set against the chaotic backdrop of the American Civil War. With its epic story of love and loss, it has set the standards for all future film productions, leaving audiences in awe of its grandeur. Singin' in the Rain, on the other hand, is a charming odyssey that celebrates the transition from silent to sound film. With its humor, songs, and dance, this musical tells a story of innovation, resourcefulness, and the joy of creation. However, the saga of cinematic monuments does not end here. Citizen Kane, Orson Welles' masterpiece, revolutionized the way stories can be told on film, exploring the depths of human nature and power through the prism of one man. The Wizard of Oz takes us on a journey far beyond the rainbow colors, into a world where wonders are possible and dreams come true. This film has become synonymous with the magic of childhood, reminding us of the power of courage, heart, and intellect. It Happened One Night, starring Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert, not only swept all the major categories at the Oscars, but also cemented the romantic comedy as a vital genre, proving that true love can find its way even through the most unusual circumstances. In the world of mystery and intrigue, Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo and North by Northwest, masterpieces of suspense, explore the darker corners of the human psyche, creating thrillers that are still the subject of study and admiration today. Cleopatra, featuring Elizabeth Taylor in the leading role, is not just a visually spectacular story about one of history's most intriguing figures, but also a study of power, politics, and passion that transcends the boundaries of time. When speaking of rebellion and youthful unrest, Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean becomes the voice of an entire generation, while Ben-Hur and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof continue the tradition of epic stories that are not afraid to explore deep and complex themes. The Western genre, with films like High Noon and The Searchers, tells stories of courage, morality, and the fight against injustice, rooted in the endless landscapes of the American West. The famous Western The Searchers, in which John Wayne plays a man returning home after the Civil War only to find that his family has been brutally attacked, reflects deep internal conflicts and moral dilemmas. These films, from musicals to dramas, from thrillers to epic sagas and westerns, are not just works of art. They are the cornerstone upon which the entire film industry rests. Each of them is a bridge that connects the past with the future, reminding us of the power of storytelling and how film, in its purest form, has the power to shape not only generations, but also the very foundations of culture. As the 1950s slowly drew to a close and the dawn of the 1960s illuminated the horizon, Hollywood stood on the precipice of change, on the border between its past and future. The Golden Age, an era defined by the grandeur of the studio system, starry luminance, and cinematic innovations, began to feel the pressure of time that was changing relentlessly. Three major forces, regulatory changes, the rise of television, and the growth of independent production, conspired to reshape the landscape that had once been the undisputed domain of the big studios. Regulatory changes, especially the United States Supreme Court's decision in the case of United States versus Paramount Pictures Inc. in 1948, forced studios to divest their movie theaters, breaking up the vertical integration that had been the foundation of their power. This move opened the doors to greater competition and diversification in the film industry, but also eroded the studio system that had defined the preceding decades. The rise of television as the dominant form of entertainment in American homes led to a decrease in cinema attendance. Audiences could now enjoy entertainment without the need to leave the comfort of their homes, posing a challenge to the film industry on how to retain its audience. The response was in larger, bolder, and technically more advanced films, but also in adapting to new genres and stories that could draw audiences back into the dark halls of cinemas. Meanwhile, the growth of independent production brought a new wave of creativity and innovation to the industry. Independent producers and directors, freed from the constraints of the studio system, began exploring new themes, styles, and narratives, often with greater social awareness and critical commentary on culture and society. This movement, known as New Hollywood, signaled the arrival of a new era in American cinema, an era that would shape filmmaking in the decades to come. Although the Golden Age came to its end, its legacy remains alive today. The films that defined that period are still loved and cherished. The Golden Age laid the foundations upon which the film industry still builds today, from technological innovations to narrative techniques. More importantly, the Golden Age taught us the power of film to shape, reflect, and influence society, showing us how the big screens can be windows into our collective souls. Its legacy, engraved in timeless stories and unforgettable characters, continues to inspire, entertain, and provoke new generations of filmmakers and film lovers around the world, leaving an indelible mark on the fabric of our culture.